do you hear me? And I would say, yes, Dad. And he would say, then heed me. Heed means do what I say. And we need to not only hear the voice of God, but we need to heed His voice and obey it. Otherwise, it's just so much hot air, as it were. Spiritual, but of no value if we don't heed it. And God is wanting us not only to believe that we can hear His voice, but that we will heed His voice and obey Him and carry out the things that He wants to say to us. Down the bottom there it says in verse 7 and 8, the person who doesn't believe that God is speaking to him, is always doubting that God is speaking to them, will be like a wave of the sea, tossed and blown, never really being sure if it's God or if it's just their own imagination. That man will receive nothing from the Lord. He is double-minded. That means he is a person with two opinions. Two opinions. And we need to be people of a single mind. One opinion. This is God speaking to me. I need to hear what He says, and I need to listen to what He says, and I need to obey what He says, or do what He says. Okay, how close are we, Richard? All right. Just time for another scripture. In Hebrews chapter 5 and verse 14, and it says there that it is by constant use that we can distinguish good from evil. Now, from my experience, I know that through constant use, my natural usage of the knowledge and wisdom, constant use of my natural knowledge and wisdom is that I very seldom get it right. And what this scripture is saying, I believe, is saying it in a back to front way. It's saying that it's constant use that we can distinguish good from evil. But what it's really getting at is, unless you depend on God, you're never really going to know which is good and which is evil. And you see, in the Hebrew way of doing things, they would use these back-to-front statements so that people would say, well, hang on a minute, that's not right. And then they would begin to understand, by constant use, I have come to understand that I have to be reliant on God, because He's the only one that can help us to know good from evil. I don't know good from evil. I have fallen flat on my face so many times trying to figure out whether something was good for me or something was evil. How many times have you experienced something and you've said, I hate it. I don't want this. Take it away from me, God. And then a little bit further down the track, you look back on that experience now that you're not going through it anymore. You look back on it and say, oh, that was good for me. I'm glad God took me that way. I'm not putting my hand up for seconds, God, but thank you that you brought me first through that. Okay? Okay, so we're going to pause now and let the